Hello everyone, it has been so long since we've had this personal one-on-one chat with each other. Like, all of my reviews are with Karif now, which is fine. I love talking about movies with Karif. It's one of our favorite things to do. But it's also nice to have this one-on-one chat with you guys. And today, I'm going to be talking about Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Now, of course, I've talked about this movie before on my channel, but not the 3D version, which came out tonight. I'm going to do a brief rundown on the movie and what I think about the movie, and then get into the 3D because there is a lot that I want to say about the 3D of this movie. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is based on the children's book of the same name by author J.K. Rowling about a young wizard named Harry who ends up going off to a wizard school called Hogwarts where he meets his two best friends, Ron and Hermione, and he has to stop an evil, wicked, super bad evil man named Voldemort from getting a magic stone and reviving himself and then coming back and doing evil shit. And along the way he learns all this fun magical stuff and also a bunch of dangerous magical stuff, and he learns how to ride a broomstick and he becomes a jock, and it's just this insane adventure. Everyone knows this story. Even if you haven't read the books or seen the movies, you know Harry Potter, you know Troll in the Dungeon and the magical ceiling of the Great Hall, and you know Wingardium Leviosa. Everybody knows this shit. I love this movie. This movie was my childhood. I had it on DVD and I watched the shit out of it. It is a very warm and inviting movie. Is it nostalgic? Yeah, I mean, it's just also a fantastic movie. It is a masterclass in adaptation. The music is phenomenal. The cinematography is great. Chris Columbus as the director was an amazing choice. The screenwriter, the producer, everything for this movie came together just right. The casting, all of it is just fantastic. And all these years later, it still holds up. I mean, I believe next year will be the 25th anniversary of this film, and 24 years later, technically it's not quite 24 yet because the movie came out later in the year, back in 2001, it still looks great. Of course, some of the visual effects don't hold up as well, whatever, it was 2001. I mean, this movie had to walk so the rest of them can run. Well, really, it was the Phantom Menace that had to fall on its fucking face for the rest of these movies to be able to pick up and run, but still, this is an awesome movie. It's a very warm and cozy movie. It has all the whimsy and magic of childhood, and you still feel it this many years later. Taking nostalgia out of the equation, it is just an undeniably well-crafted film. Everybody involved in the production was on their A game. It was like peak performance, and the results show. With all of this being said, I never thought in a million, billion, trillion, quintillion, septillion, hexadillion, all the illion years that this movie would see the light of day outside of its limited screening in China. And I mean the 3D version of this film. When it was initially announced to be coming to China, because it was the 4K 3D re-release of it, and this was back during the pandemic, I was very upset. Mainly because I was like, this whole pandemic is China's fault, and why are they getting this movie and we aren't getting this movie? This feels like they're getting rewarded. That was a terrible way to think about it, but I was angry and anxious in the moment along with the rest of the world, and this is a movie that, like, I could watch this movie in 2D and just imagine how amazing it would be in 3D, and I was extremely jealous. So being able to actually see it is like the dream of the childhood, despite the fact that this didn't exist until 2020. But even as a kid, like, thinking of moments from this movie that could look good in 3D, like when I was younger, first really getting into 3D, even though it was high school, but like, you're still a kid in high school. This movie surprised me on many things. Or this version. When I say this movie, I'm talking about the 3D version of it. You guys know what I mean. When it was announced for its release in China, I was going on the forums and people were like, oh, well, it's probably some crappy, cheap, easy conversion, bullshit conversion, and it probably doesn't look good because according to them, a lot of movies that get 3D exclusive versions for China are like rushed and they don't look good and they're not worth it. So we're really not missing much. I wasn't expecting it to be that bad going into it, but I also was expecting it to be like a conversion for the sake of conversion. Like Warner Brothers just had this in the vault and they said, we're doing a re-release of all the Harry Potter films. Might as well throw this one out there since we already have it. What I was also not expecting was for this movie, I don't know what the team was behind the conversion for this, but they really genuinely put in so much effort to not just make this movie look clean in 3D, but to give it an exciting and incredible and immersive and surprising 3D experience. When I say this is one of the best 3D movies that I have ever seen, that is saying a lot. I have like 300 3D Blu-rays on this shelf, and I've seen even more in the theaters that have never been released on Blu-ray. This is one of the best I have ever seen. There are pop-outs in this movie that are like some of the most intense pop-outs that I have ever seen that I was completely not expecting. And maybe it's the fact that I wasn't expecting them to go this hard is why I'm like gushing about it so much, but that doesn't change the fact that they went as hard as they did. Every moment that you would expect to have good pop-out, they take it and they run with it and they push it. I mean, everything with the snitch. Whenever the snitch is flying up to the screen, that thing is like right in your face. The Quidditch match was absolutely amazing in 3D. There was just so much depth. The camera panning up to look at the moving staircases towards, I guess, kind of the midpoint of the film whenever they're first going into Hogwarts. Awesome. Stuff with like the snake at the beginning of the movie. The snake was coming out of the screen. I wasn't expecting that. This movie just kept surprising me. And it's insane to think that a movie that was not designed with 3D in mind, that 3D wasn't even an inkling in the mind of the director or any of the filmmakers, that this movie has so many shots that lend itself so well to the format. And the people that did the conversion job understood this, and they took those moments and they pushed them as much as they could. It was not like some lazy half-assed whatever job. The people that did the conversion for this movie are very clearly fans of 3D, very clearly loved this movie, and wanted to give the absolute best 3D experience they could. This feels like it was lovingly crafted from the ground up for 3D. That is how good it is. Like, I cannot believe how good it is. It is absolutely worth seeing, and it is a very limited release. As far as I'm aware, it's only getting 2 more releases in 3D, and they're all on Thursdays, which is weird. Apparently some places might be showing it on other days. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I know for a fact that you have at least 2 more opportunities to go see this in 3D. I know it's on a Thursday night. I know that it is very inconvenient for most people. I know a lot of people got to get up early for work the next day, and this is a 2.5 hour long movie. I mean, like the earliest screening was like 5, which is kind of a bit later. Mine was at 6, but I mean, the time flies by. This is not an opportunity to pass up. I am telling you, this was insane. And I can only hope and pray that this gets a home release, because I absolutely love this. I love this so much, and I know I say this a lot and I never follow up on it, but I might actually just go watch it the next 2 screenings, like the next 2 weeks that they have it. It is that good. I'm gonna try to get some people to go see it. Like, I genuinely think this is a phenomenal 3D release. Like, just on the 3D merit alone is like worth price of admission. The Quidditch match was worth price of admission. Everything in this movie that you think would be cool in 3D not only looks cool in 3D, but is like done as best as it could possibly have been done. calming down now. This is the kind of 3D conversion that makes me fall in love with 3D all over again. Like, we get so many 3D conversions that look nice, or just 3D movies in general that look nice and like, okay, whatever. But every so often, a 3D release comes along that really inspires me. And this has me wanting to just start converting stuff in 3D with Owl 3D, or like go out with the cameras and record stuff in 3D. It's just awe-inspiring. So to whoever was behind the 3D conversion, whatever team, the stereographer, holy shit, fucking fantastic job. Give these guys a raise. Absolutely earned. Well done. I cannot recommend seeing this movie enough in 3D. Absolutely worth it. If you want to go see the re-releases for these movies, because they're re-releasing all of them, and you're like, about 3D, I am telling you, this movie is absolutely worth going to see in 3D. It is going to change the way, literally change the way that you see this movie. It is awesome, it is exciting, it is exhilarating. The 3D added a lot to these scenes. They made them punch a lot harder, and I cannot wait to see it again. That is all I gotta say for this review. Go out and see Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone in 3D, whatever have you. And I will see you all next time for when Karif and I review Paddington 3.